I want you to imagine this for a second. A daughter pushes her father's wheelchair through a sea of people, all wearing purple shirts, all carrying flowers that spin in the wind. Each color represents something: a caregiver, a person living with Alzheimer's, someone who's lost a loved one, someone fighting for a future without this disease. The music plays, the crowd cheers, and for just a moment, no one feels alone. That's the power of the walk to end Alzheimer's. Hi, I'm Dale Corpus, a senior transition specialist and real estate expert based in the San Francisco Bay Area. As a part of the sandwich generation myself, I know firsthand how emotional it can be to balance caring for your kids, your career, and your aging parents all at once. I created the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast to make these conversations easier, to bring you real stories, expert insights, and practical tools so you can move forward with confidence instead of stress. And today we're talking about something that impacts millions of families across the country: Alzheimer's disease and the incredible community that's rising up to fight it. My guest is Zach Suggs, Senior Director of the Walk to End Alzheimer's at the Alzheimer's Association. Zach's career has been built at the intersection of healthcare, advocacy, and community organizing. His mission: to rally people together to raise awareness, build connection, and fund the research that could change everything. In this episode, we'll explore what the Walk to End Alzheimer's is all about, why this cause matters more than ever, and how each of us, whether you're a family caregiver, a professional, or simply a friend, can make a difference. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, where we help families navigate senior living, real estate, and everything in between. Hosted by Senior Transition Specialist Dale Corpus, this show brings you expert insights, real solutions, and stress-free strategies to make senior transitions simple. Ready to dive in? Let's go.
And we're back, everybody. Zach, welcome to the show today. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. It's early start to the morning. I've got a good cup of tea, and we just finished up our walk to end Alzheimer's. So what's not to love?
Yeah, well, give me a few things. How was the turnout? How did it go?
Yeah, absolutely. So here in Silicon Valley, we had a little over 2,500 people this
Wow.
year, and Dell, it was an incredible experience. You get this moment of being surrounded by people who all understand Alzheimer's and dementia and are rallying around each other. Pretty incredible.
I love that. And let's start with your background. Can you tell us how you got started in nonprofit healthcare and advocacy work?
Yeah, absolutely. So it goes back all the way to actually the East Coast. Pensacola, Florida is really where I got my start with the Alzheimer's Association through two particularly incredible staff members, Lauren Mabry and AJ. Both were talking to me as a college student, and Alzheimer's was something that had impacted my family pretty deeply. So I heard about this opportunity to come in as an intern for the Alzheimer's Association. And one thing led to another. And now here I am 8 years later. And it's been an incredible adventure.
Got it. And what drew you specifically to work for the walk to end Alzheimer's?
Yeah, I think throughout my whole life, if you could talk to my mother, she would probably tell you that I have always been very outgoing, very always involved in the community, volunteerism. And so this just kind of seemed like a perfect marriage of really all of those things together.
Okay. And as a senior director, out of curiosity, what does your role look like on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, that's a fun question. No day's the same, which is part of the great part of this job. It's everything from obviously the event day that just happened, where it is planning out the walk, working with our incredible volunteers that make the event really all come together. On top of that, throughout the year, it's working with corporate sponsors. It's helping meet with team captains and teams and doing exciting and fun kickoffs. It's a lot of fundraising. I have to be completely honest, a lot of
Yeah.
fundraising, but it's incredible. I think the common theme is people. Every day I am interacting with different individuals, whether they are impacted by Alzheimer's and dementia and they're accessing our services, whether they're interested in being a part of the walk and participating in it, whether somebody wants to give their time. I really think people's the common theme throughout everything.
Yeah. I want to talk about Alzheimer's itself. For those who might not know what Alzheimer's is, how is it different from other forms of dementia?
Yeah, I love that question, Dell. And I think we get asked this pretty often. You hear dementia, you hear Alzheimer's put together pretty much all the time. How I've started explaining this to people is that dementia is really this, and I'm going to use my hands here. It's this dementia, this umbrella term where folks that are experiencing cognitive changes that are impacting their memory, their ability to just operate in the day to day. What we know is the most common form of dementia right now is Alzheimer's. So, depending on who you ask or where you look, it's about 60 to 80% of all cases of dementia. It fractures out from there. There's vascular dementia, frontotemporal dementia, and the list really does go on and on. There's so many different types of dementia out there. Like I said, Alzheimer's happens to be the most prevalent. As we talk about the Alzheimer's Association, I always make the joke, and it's a terrible joke, but our organization's full name is Alzheimer's Disease and Related Disorders Association. As you can imagine, that doesn't fit on a business card. So we shrunk it down to the Alzheimer's Association. But what that really means is that not only are we serving people with Alzheimer's, but also people with any type of dementia.
Okay. How widespread is this disease today? And what do projections look like in years ahead?
Gosh, it's incredible how many people are impacted by Alzheimer's. What we know is here in the States, 1 in 3 seniors will ultimately end up with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, which is pretty terrible. Here in California, there's about 720,000 individuals that are living with the disease. And as you look across the nation, it's a little over 7 million people.
Wow.
So you just talk about a just tremendous. And the unfortunate reality is we're expected to see that grow throughout the coming years as more people get diagnosed. I think the great thing is awareness is spreading about Alzheimer's and dementia. So people are becoming more aware. They're seeking help, which is a great thing. But the unfortunate reality is that incidence is increasing every year.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions you hear from families about Alzheimer's?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. This is one that I think I even heard in my own family, which is Alzheimer's is part of normal aging. The reality is that Alzheimer's and dementia is not a part of normal aging. Just because you're growing older doesn't mean you're going to develop Alzheimer's and dementia. We do know that today age is the biggest risk factor, of course, for developing Alzheimer's and dementia, but it's truly a disease. So, a little bit of memory change as you get older is normal, but to the point that it is affecting your activities of daily living and changing your life, yeah, it's not normal. And there's resources out there to support.
Speaking of support, what kinds of support services does the Alzheimer's Association offer for caregivers and families?
Yeah, Del, you've asked one of my favorite questions. So, the Alzheimer's Association, we are a nationwide organization. First, I love to share. We're in all 50 states. So, whether you're in Alaska, Hawaii, Maine, Florida, wherever you may be, the Alzheimer's Association has presence in communities. When we think about the care and support opportunities that we offer to families, I always like to start local because I think that's important. In local communities, you'll see us providing education classes, support groups, and just being out trying to reach people and let them know, hey, there's so much opportunity. Probably our most utilized resource that I want to talk about, I'll say 2 most utilized resources. The first is going to be our 24/7 helpline. I'm going to make a plug for the number. So if you've got your pen and paper at home, grab it really quick. But our 24/7 helpline is 800-272-3900. What's so particularly great about that helpline is day or night, a master's level clinician's there to pick up the phone. And whether you're looking for information about, gosh, I need a resource in my community, whether you're here in San Jose, you're somewhere halfway across the country, you can call in and talk to somebody, whether that's maybe it's looking for a physician, maybe it's looking for help if you're a caregiver, maybe it's looking for resources with food. There's all different things that are available through our 24/7 helpline. On top of that, though, you can also call if you're a caregiver. If it's 2 in the morning and you're caregiving for someone and you're just like, man, today has not went well, right now is not going well, give us a call. We're there to provide resources and tips. On top of that, we have what we call a care consultation. So we can actually sit down or over the phone with a family, with someone who maybe is in the early stages of Alzheimer's, maybe it's their caregiver, maybe it's a concerned loved one, and actually help them come up with an action plan.
Okay.
It's pretty powerful. And Del, I have to share this is one of my favorite resources too, because you can imagine being in a doctor's office and you've gone through all this testing, and perhaps the physician comes in and says, you have Alzheimer's. You can just imagine how your world pauses in that moment. You're not going to hear anything else for the rest of that visit. So we can be there to help support those individuals, help support families. So I mentioned two most utilized resources. So our helpline is one. The other is our website. And I know in my family, and well, maybe I've been guilty of this along the way too. Sometimes we don't want to pick up the phone and call a person. You're just exhausted. It's the end of the day. You're on the couch. You're like, I just can't do it. Our website's such a great resource to be able to go and find information, find resources in your community. If you are super into what's happening in the world of Alzheimer's, you want to keep up the research, you want to keep up with the public policy, there's some pretty incredible tidbits that are on our website. So that's a little bit about our care and support. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to plug one other thing super quickly. For those of you that may know someone that is impacted, maybe you're a caregiver, maybe you're in the early stages, we have developed an app called My Alz Journey. So that's My ALZ Journey. This app is really designed to be a simple kind of one-stop shop to give people access to education and resources. And obviously, we still have our helpline, we still have our website. But I think if you've been on, and I call it the Google, if you've been on the Google lately and you type in Alzheimer's, it's pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
So this is meant to just really be a resource that's simple, easy to digest. I love there's some little check boxes on there that you can actually go through. And as you read things, you can check them off. And it's pretty incredible. So that's a recent addition to our arsenal.
Wow. Zach, that was a mouthful. You guys have so many resources.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about the walk itself. What is it? How does it work? And how did it all start?
Absolutely. So the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and I brought my mug intentionally this morning. The Walk to End Alzheimer's is the world's largest fundraiser, raising funds for Alzheimer's care support and research. So we're in about 620 communities all across the country. I was just shocked. I found out our friends in Wisconsin, I think, have 20 or 21 walks in their state, which I was just like, whoa, that's incredible. So we're in all communities, bringing people together to essentially fight against Alzheimer's, fight against dementia by raising these funds that are going to support people and also helping improve research. It's pretty incredible. I know we talked about this a little bit. Ours in San Jose was this past Saturday, and I still get chills. I've been doing this since 2017. And when you're standing in that sea of people, my first walk was in Little Op, Alabama, which is a tiny little town that most people probably haven't heard of. Whether you're in Op, Alabama, or you're here in Silicon Valley or New York City or wherever you are, it's so incredible to be surrounded by these people that they just kind of get it.
Yeah.
They really do. And so I like to call it our biggest support group of the year. I think it's a pretty powerful statement that holds true.
What makes the walk more than just a fundraiser? Why is it such an emotional and powerful experience for people?
Yeah. Connection. It's going to boil back to that for me, is connection. It's the opportunity to, again, be with those folks who are impacted, who get it. But even outside of that too, it's a powerful force. 620 events last year. And I think this was our third year, we've raised over $100 million each year through our Walk to End Alzheimer's program. It's pretty impressive. So people participate in this starting, our websites go live usually somewhere around January 10th for the following year. And I'm getting phone calls because there are those people that they're like, hey, we're 10 days into the year. What's happening? We're ready to go. So it's pretty incredible to see how people rally around this cause and choose to not only get friends and families involved, their place of worship, where they may work, their neighborhood. I've seen it all, I think. It's incredible to see how people really, really rally around this cause. They plan and work so hard throughout the year. And honestly, walk days, it's a little bit of a celebration because people have worked so hard throughout the year. It's also an opportunity to celebrate and cherish your loved ones as well. So it's a great day that's very upbeat, very lively, and a lot of fun.
Let's talk a little bit more about the walk day. Can you paint a picture for us? What can someone expect the day of the walk?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, whether you're here or you're all the way across the country, up in Alaska, Hawaii, you're going to see that our walk days are pretty a universal experience.
Hmm.
So first, I have to say, have to plug, we encourage everyone to register online. You can totally register on walk day. We've got the paper forms, but register online. And the reason I say that, you're going to get all of the event logistics emailed to you. So you're going to know about parking, you're going to know about registration, the timeline, all of those questions you're going to have that when you're going to an event are so important. But when you come in, there's the opportunity to first come in and get a promise garden flower. And I'm wishing I had one right here next to me, but our promise garden flowers are the signature element of our event day. So you'll see that there's 4 different colors based on your connection to the cause, and everybody's going to have one. So whether you are a caregiver, if you're a caregiver or caring for someone with Alzheimer's and dementia, you'll hold the yellow flower on walk day. If you're living with Alzheimer's and dementia, you'll hold the blue flower. If you maybe don't have a direct connection, maybe a colleague invited you to come out, you're volunteering your time, we have an orange flower. And then there's a purple flower, which is for those that have unfortunately lost someone to Alzheimer's disease. And so there's a pretty powerful mission moment around those flowers. But on top of that, you get to see our community partners who support Alzheimer's and dementia. And I have to tell you, I've seen everything from, of course, your local health systems, senior communities, real estate agents. But, there's been some pretty incredible folks get involved over the years that it just kind of surprised me. An HVAC company, I'll throw out as an example. And it's because their employees were so impacted as caregivers, as loved ones, as honestly as children. So, everybody really gets involved with this. It's pretty powerful. Our opening ceremony is my favorite part of the morning. So we talk through some of the things we've accomplished throughout the years. And usually there's a little research update. Also, on top of that, though, we typically tend to have a mission speaker. So whether it's somebody that is living with Alzheimer's and dementia that chooses to share their brave and powerful story,
Yeah.
or maybe it's a caregiver, it's such an impactful moment of our day. And then after that, the music cranks up. It's the fun part. We're headed off for the walk, and so much celebration throughout that. I've been to walks all across the country, and the energy is just, you can't replace it. You really can't. So walk day is quite a treat. Usually the walk 2 to 3.5 miles is our full route. Most of our walks have either a half mile or a mile shorter route, or you can just hang out with us in the festivities area. Music's still going. We've got plenty of snacks, plenty of water. You can bring your family, your pets, and it's a great time. It's really a great time.
Are there walks happening pretty much in every region of the United States? And how can someone find one near them?
Yeah, so the Walk to End Alzheimer's happens everywhere, 620 communities, and also sort of a gift of the pandemic, to be completely honest, is that you can walk anywhere now. But alz.org/walk is where you can find all of our walk details. They are happening throughout the fall. So there's one near you, and some of our friends that are in Florida and some of the more southern areas. Some of those walks creep even as far as December. But honestly, there's the opportunity for everybody to get involved, no matter what time of year it is. We're always first looking for people to join us as volunteers. I have to give a shout out to our committee members here in Silicon Valley and that I've worked with across the country. Those folks make the walk happen. And no matter what your gift is, whether it is picking up the phone and being able to talk to a team captain, to invite somebody to join us, it's writing a thank you card. If it's just when you go down to the local Safeway or wherever your grocery store is, Costco, maybe it's dropping off a donation letter. There's decorating signs. Oh my gosh, some of our favorite things on walk day from this year are that folks decorated handmade thank you signs. And it's just kind of a powerful moment for people to say, wow, somebody really took the time to do that. So no matter what your skill is, if you're a community builder, if you're a logistics person, if you just want to write some thank you cards, we need you. So you can get involved year round in that aspect, but also sign up your team. Again, get your neighbors involved, get your friends involved, your colleagues, the folks who go to the same church or place of worship as you. Get folks involved because this impacts everybody.
Yeah. How do the funds raised through the walk directly support Alzheimer's research, care, and policy initiatives?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, the Walk to End Alzheimer's is the largest fundraiser for care, support, and research. And it's pretty incredible what we've been able to accomplish. So, the association as an organization is largely community funded, I have to say. Through the walk, we have some other programs like Do What You Love to End Alls, we have galas. All of this really enables us to support people and community, providing those services, the care consultations, the support groups, the education classes. But also on top of that, one of the things that I'm pretty proud of, and I know we'll get the opportunity to talk about this, but the Alzheimer's Association is funding about $415 million in research right now in active studies. So at the last I look, and it changes every quarter, so don't quote me exactly, but I know that we're at about 1,100 projects in 56 countries, and I think that number's grown, but it's pretty incredible, whether it's looking for a cure, a way to prevent, a way to slow Alzheimer's and dementia. We're investing in some of the best and brightest projects that are out there.
Okay, got it. Let's segue into building community and awareness. You've said before that advocacy is personal. Can you share a story from one of your past walks that really moved you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I think about advocacy, I think the work that we're doing at the state and federal levels with the Alzheimer's Association. We have incredible volunteers that throughout the year, whether it's in a site meeting here in a district with a congressperson, assemblyman, a senator, go and actually share their story about Alzheimer's and dementia. And the Alzheimer's Association and our volunteers, we advocate for so many different things. I think the common theme that I tend to see every year is I've gone to advocacy meetings now in 4 states. So I've bounced around with the association. So started in Florida, was in Alabama, I have went in Louisiana, and now in California. And the one thing that I always see that we're advocating for and trying to garner support for, research funding, of course, is top of mind. We want to see a cure. We want to see a way to prevent or even continue to slow Alzheimer's and dementia. But also on top of that, we're looking to improve care, provide support to those that are affected. And those are the common themes. So whether it is education about the disease, whether it is just being able to better support caregivers and communities, we're looking to improve upon all of those things. And it's pretty impactful. As far as a walk day story, I will share this year was pretty incredible. We had 3 different legislators come out to our event, and just having them there and seeing that support, not only from the state, but also the federal level, was like, wow. And every year we bring, and it varies state to state, but we bring at least 100 volunteers to the state capitol every year. I know back home was Tallahassee, was our state capital. So we called it the Rally and Tally. We're still working on a cool name here in California. We're going to find it. But same thing at the federal level. We bring volunteers to go to Washington, D.C. during session and to share their stories, to advocate. And it's just incredible. And again, all of this is personal for me, I think, just because of how Alzheimer's and dementia has affected my family.
What roles do families, caregivers, and even corporate teams play in making these events successful?
So many roles, I think, is the easiest answer. It's incredible. So I'll walk through just a couple different examples. But first, on event day, 2,500 people. I mean, this year here in San Jose, we had everybody show up, from Adobe to Intuitive Surgical, down to what I'm going to call grassroots credit unions that are really just focused on serving our local community. But outside of that, we had churches and temples show up. We had a neighborhood association show up, which was so cool. So they are the heart of the walk, I think, easiest way to put it. And it just takes one person saying, yes, I want to become a team captain, and saying, yes, I want to recruit others, and spreading the word. And that's really how this amplifies and how we make such a tremendous impact. On top of that, there's sponsorship opportunities. There's volunteer opportunities as well, whether it's the day of or throughout the year on the committee. But even further beyond that, in our care and support efforts and our advocacy efforts, there's volunteer opportunities there for everyone. And if you speak a different language, if you're of a certain faith, if you do anything, you can jump in and get involved, because the truth is we need to reach people in all communities. And we know that this does span all communities. Women are twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's and dementia as a man, twice as likely to also be a caregiver, which is a pretty powerful statistic, both of those. If you're Black or African American, you're twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's as your white counterparts. If you're Hispanic or Latino, you're 1.5 times as likely. Alzheimer's is reaching all communities, all people, and we want to be there to support them, to get the word out to them. So families, caregivers, corporate teams, they're the heart of our work. They're the heart of what we do.
Yeah. How can senior living professionals, placement agents, or even realtors like myself support the cause beyond participating in the walk?
Well, now seems the appropriate time to mention a podcast is a great opportunity. No, very grateful for you to have me. Um, you know, I think it's a little bit of the same for everyone. There is so much power in recognizing when somebody needs a little support.
Okay.
And also sharing your own story is so powerful. Really just making people feel comfortable with Alzheimer's and dementia. There's still a little bit of a stigma that's hanging around about conversations with Alzheimer's and dementia. It's a little bit of a dirty word in some communities.
Yeah.
So continuing the conversations, sharing the resources that are available for people out there, and also just the work that you do to support families is pretty incredible.
Now, what do you wish more people knew about getting involved or volunteering?
Yeah, it's such an incredible opportunity. Even myself as a staff member,
Yeah.
anytime I go home, there's still volunteers that I pick up the phone and call and say, hey, let's go grab lunch. Let's go grab a glass of wine. Let's have a coffee. First, I think it's incredible that level of connection you can get from volunteering and getting to know your community. Same thing if I drive through Montgomery, Alabama, which was one of my first walks as well. There's still people that I pick up the phone and I say, hey, what are you doing next week?
Yeah.
I'm coming through town. Can we get together? So first, it's an incredible opportunity to connect with others, but also you get the opportunity to just make this incredible impact, no matter where you are. Getting involved, you're going to help so many people, and you're probably not even going to recognize or get to meet all of them, but you're advancing research, you're helping organize the walk, you're helping folks get access to care and support services that are sometimes so desperately needed. Being a caregiver is one of the hardest things that I think a person can do. That level of stress is tremendous. And so by, getting involved in whatever capacity you can, you're going to help make a difference for a lot of people.
Yeah. Let's shift to the families. What toll does Alzheimer's take on caregivers?
Yeah. Wow. It's pretty substantial to have to care for a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
I think even in the greatest of scenarios with your family, you're going to see so much change in your loved one. And whether your son, daughter, brother, family, friends, even mom and dad, and maybe not for Alzheimer's, but when you're a caregiver and having to step in and take care of that person that you love, first of all, there's a physical toll. What we know right now is that about 6 in 10 caregivers are employed full time. So you can imagine, working a full day's work and then having to come home and help care for a loved one. That has an impact. Not to mention the folks that right now are in the sandwich generation where they're taking care of young kids at home, but also mom, dad, aunt, uncle, whoever it may be, they need that extra support. So you can quickly see how you fall into kind of burning your candle from both ends. And so there has to be an intentional plan there, I think, to allow caregivers to reset. And maybe that's calling a trusted friend, another family member, and saying, I just need to go for a walk and go to the grocery store. Or I need a couple minutes to step away. Can you come help for 10 minutes? And obviously having a trusted person, having that plan in place is tremendous. There's also resources out there too that you can have somebody come into the home and help that's a paid professional caregiver. I think overall, what I would just say here is you have to find that time for yourself to step away, to recharge, because the health impacts that we sometimes see on caregivers who do this long term are pretty substantial. And we don't want to see that for anyone. And there are resources, incredible resources available all across the country, whether again, a respite program that maybe you can qualify for that can help bring help into the home, whether it's a support group or just, again, finding your person.
Yeah. Now, what would you say to someone who's watching their parent decline and feels helpless or unsure of what to do next?
Yeah. Okay. For those of you at home, again, grab your pens, grab your pencil. That 24/7 helpline is really just an incredible first resource.
Yeah.
So what's so great about it is obviously anytime, day or night, we're going to be there. It's available in over 200 different languages as well. There's so
Oh,
much
wow.
power in getting somebody who speaks your native tongue
Yeah.
and getting that advice. So incredible resource. And what's great is you can say, and I usually give this in education classes. You can say, hey, there was this redheaded guy that came, he gave a presentation, he's in San Jose, California. If you say that to their helpline, it might take them a minute, but they're going to track me down. So they can get you to people that are in your local community. It's a powerful resource, from being there anytime to connecting with your local community to find those resources. And they can help you if it's a hard conversation, if you're not sure how to start the conversation. It can help you sort of formulate what that might look like. Same thing with our website. We've got a vast number of resources that are available. But my biggest thing, pick up the phone and call your local office. I would say drop by, but it's walked into Alzheimer season, so we might all be hanging out in an event. But give us a call, and we want to help you. Our favorite time to actually talk to people is before they get a diagnosis. And, the reason behind that, there's so many other things that it can be besides Alzheimer's and dementia that can impact your memory. And most of them are correctable. So that's kind of our favorite time to talk with people, is when there's something small that maybe is just a fix that you need to get labs or a scan done, or, so many different things. We're here to walk you through that process, because depending on where you are, it can be so overwhelming, and we want to be a resource.
Excellent. What emotional patterns do you see most? Guilt, fear, denial, and how do you help families move through that?
Yeah. I don't know that there's one that we see most. I mean, I think you hit all of them. Guilt, fear, denial. They're all there, and they're all such powerful things. I think the biggest thing, if you see a change in a loved one, and, I do want to talk about this for just a second. Early detection is so important today with the treatments that we have, and we'll dive into that a little bit more, but talk to the people that are around this loved one. If you're seeing changes in yourself, talk to other folks. And I have to say, you know yourself best. If you feel like you're experiencing changes and you're concerned, advocate for yourself. 100%. 100%. We see all of those different emotions, I think, with this, because every person's different. Every person's unique. And I think the first step is a conversation. Really is.
Okay. Let's talk about partnerships. What are some of the major sponsors or community partners that help power the walk?
Absolutely. I have to give a shout out to my friends at Edward Jones. There's no way I couldn't. So Edward Jones has been involved with the fight since about 2017. What's pretty incredible is they have raised over $3 million this year alone for Walk to End Alzheimer's all across the country. And so their financial advisors, their branch office administrators, they're all so deeply involved. Had to give them a shout out, because a terrific partnership that we have there. But even on top of that, I mean, there are so many national sponsors that are involved. Sigma Kappa is a sorority that supports us in a huge way every single year. They come out to walks all across the country. I think they're raising right at about $1 million a year. Brookdale is one of our top partners. We've got so many. Cisco here in our local community, Intuitive Surgical here in San Jose. It's incredible. Companies of all shapes, sizes, abilities. We talked about that HVAC company earlier. It's incredible to see the people that are really rallying behind this cause.
What's one of the most creative or memorable fundraising ideas you've seen from a team or participant?
Yeah. Okay, this is going to be a double answer. I'm going to give 2 on this one, I think. Maybe 3. I'll work through them, though, I promise. One of my favorite fundraisers that it happened. Chastity, if you ever hear this podcast, have to give you a shout out. My great friend and committee member, Chastity, back home in Pensacola, Florida, started graffiti for alls. So there was this local law firm that came out to sort of this First Friday festival that happened once a month and started doing graffiti for nonprofits. And Chastity did that. You might think graffiti for nonprofits, folks are paying like $5, and that was what was happening, but raised about $3,000 or $4,000 in that community, which is incredible, just by people spraying on a tarp at a festival on a First Friday. But people loved the creative expression. They loved having that opportunity to do something a little unusual. So even some of the strangest things can be incredible fundraisers. I've seen one of my other favorites that I have is there's a senior community that probably around Halloween, they do an activity with their residents. So memory care, assisted living, independent living, and they decorate wreaths for the holidays. And so what this particular community does, they leave those wreaths up on the residents' doors, and there's sort of a bid sheet, but as families and people who are touring the community and even the employees and their partners come in, they get to see these wreaths all the way through the holidays. And then right at Thanksgiving, it's kind of the final time for the bid. They get to take those home. And that actually raised about $20,000 one year, which was incredible. And so there's so many different things out there that happen. I mean, bake sales. During the pandemic, I did a drive-through hot dog stand with some great partners back home. I've been at a ping pong tournament. It's probably easier to tell you what I haven't seen more than what I have, because people really do get so creative, and you can do anything and turn it into a fundraiser. Whatever your passion is, pickleball. Oh my gosh, pickleball's all the rage right now. Have to throw that one in there. You can really do whatever you want and have a tremendous impact on our walk in the fundraising element.
And I'm curious, how does the Alzheimer's Association influence policy and legislative advocacy, and how can everyday people help drive that change?
Absolutely. And I love the question, how can everyday people help? I'll share my first advocacy day that I went to. Del, I'll never admit this out loud or to anyone else. I say as we're on a podcast, but I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to meet with these legislators. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? I'm going to mess this up. In my first year, the great thing about being a part of our advocacy teams is it is a team. You go with a team of volunteers. And my first year, I just went and shared my story.
Okay.
And I didn't realize the impact that really had. And then as you get a little bit more involved, you spend more time with the volunteers, with the staff member, you start to get a little bit more comfortable. You learn about the legislative asks that are maybe being had in that year. I know for me, it's very easy to tie my story into research. And I think that's something we can all relate to. But you start to pick up on these little opportunities to take your story and go, wow, that would have been something that really could have helped us. So it is our public policy work and advocacy work is a lot of storytelling. Because what we know is that obviously facts are so important when we're driving decisions, when we're making an ask. But what really brings it to light is lived experience. When folks can really say, this is how this would have impacted me. And you talk about your mom, you talk about your grandmother, your aunt, your dad. It's incredible. So throughout the year, like I said, we go to state and federal meetings. We're here in the district. So even if you can't travel to Sacramento, Tallahassee, I can't name any other capitals. If you can't go to your state capital, if you can't go to Washington, D.C., there's probably some work that you can do, whether it's in your own home, writing an email, sending a tweet, or if it's going to maybe a meeting that your legislator's having in your town, in a neighboring town, and just being there. It's pretty powerful. And like I said, folks who want to get involved, they can reach out to the Alzheimer's Association in their area. And we've got the resources and tools. We'll help train you. We'll kind of help make the process really clear. And that's true whether you want to be involved with advocacy work, whether you're thinking, gosh, I would love to be a community educator, or I'd love to lead a support group, or tell me more about this walk committee. Give us a call. The helpline number, and again, I'm going to plug it one more time, 800-272-3900. Hoping everybody gets that from this podcast, but reach out to that number, go to our website, because everyday people is coming together is how we make a difference and how we make an impact.
100%. Now, What recent research or breakthroughs in Alzheimer's care give you the most hope right now?
Ugh, what a great question, Dell. I mean, we're at this time that we really are on the edge of seeing something wildly amazing.
Yeah.
What I can share is so in the last maybe almost 3 years, we've seen the first treatments coming out for Alzheimer's disease specifically that are changing the underlying biology of the disease.
Okay.
So when we talk about treatments, there's been treatments that they address the symptoms and sort of at some point they become ineffective in addressing those symptoms, but the disease process is continuing as normal. These medications that we have that have come out in the last few years, they sort of slow the disease progression. They give folks more time to be with their families, more time to plan for the future, more time to take that trip, whatever it is. It's more time. I think that's really powerful. And we're starting to see even more continued research coming out around that. We're excited, but the one thing I will share is those treatments right now are for Alzheimer's disease pretty exclusively. Folks have to be in the earliest stages of Alzheimer's to access those treatments. So when we talk about early detection, we say it's important. Now more than ever is early detection. So critically important. If you're seeing changes in yourself and a loved one, start talking about it because we want folks to be able to access these treatments. There's continued breakthroughs that we're seeing every day. My personal hope is that within 10 years,
Yeah.
20 years, and I'd like to say even sooner, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to mess anything up. But I think there's going to be a treatment available. I think we're going to see something that is truly going to be a cure or that's going to enable people to live normal lives after getting a diagnosis. And that's my personal hope. That's what I'm waiting to see. I think everything points towards we're having all of these advances and breakthroughs, and it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. What are your goals for the walk to end Alzheimer's over the next 5 years?
Oh, I love that question. I'll take this from kind of the local level here in San Jose. Here in San Jose, we are right at 3,000 people. We're raising over $2 million. Last year, by the way, little shout out to my committee here in San Jose, Silicon Valley. Last year was the first ever $2 million walk to end Alzheimer's, and it was us. Out of 620 events, we've been doing this since 1989. And how powerful is that? So I want to keep that going. Dale, I've got some pretty big goals in mind. 3 million seems easy in 5 years. I'm interested in the 4 and 5 million. I want to keep it going.
Yeah.
I want to see 10,000 people at our event because we know that the folks are impacted by this. And my boss is totally going to love this and is probably going to play this every day for the rest of my life. But I think we can do it. Ultimately, I think what's incredible about our organization and the work that we do is that we're here to, again, find that method of prevention, find that cure. But even once that happens, we want to help people access that. So we've got some big work ahead of us. And so growth is always top of mind for me because the families that we serve, the people living with Alzheimer's and dementia, they deserve it.
For someone listening right now who only has a few hours to give, what's the single most impactful thing they can do today?
Dell, that's an easy one for me from a walk perspective. Register a Walk to End Alzheimer's team. We've got this great mobile app. We have resources developed on the website that you can send out a few emails to your friends. It's got your team link in there. It's got, hey, would you make a donation? Great opportunity with the walk. If you've only got truly a few hours today, make that impact 100%. On top of that, maybe it's talking, if you know someone impacted by Alzheimer's and dementia, make sure they know about the Alzheimer's Association. Make sure that they know that there are resources out there that are free of charge that is designed to support them.
Yeah.
I think those are two of my biggest things.
Yeah.
If you're a company leader, schedule an education program in conjunction with your company or organization. If you're in Rotary, talk about the association. Have us come out and provide an education class. There's so many opportunities, and each person has a different skill, has a different access, but just talk about the association. Have us come provide education, get involved with the walk. There's a lot of opportunity.
One of my final questions is, what keeps you personally motivated to continue this work year after year?
Yeah, it's the people, Dale. It really is. When I think about my walk committee and again, my participants, I mean, there's people I still pick up the phone and call and say, how are you doing? How are things going? Or I'm passing through town. Let's get through lunch. And ultimately seeing the impacts of Alzheimer's day in and day out, whether it's in my personal family, in our community, or even more on a national or global level, we just can't stop.
And finally, any final words? And how can listeners connect with you directly or learn more about the Alzheimer's Association?
Absolutely. So you can probably guess what I'm going to share next, El. That 24/7 helpline is your resource, 800-272-3900. But also on top of that, we have local offices all across the country. Pop by and see us, look us up on the Google, whatever you need to do. alz.org is our website, though. And also you can go to alz.org/walk if you want to get involved with this little thing called the Walk to End Alzheimer's. We'd love to have you.
Perfect. Zach, thank you so much for joining me today and for the incredible work you're doing to bring hope, support, and connection to families impacted by Alzheimer's. What you share today is a powerful reminder that we're all part of this fight and that together we can make a difference. And for those of you watching or listening, this is exactly why I started the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast to help families navigate aging, caregiving, and senior living with confidence, clarity, and compassion. If your loved one is considering senior living and you need to figure out what to do with their home, let's talk. Schedule a free consultation and learn more about my services at www.simplifyseniortransitions.com. Have a quick question, DM me on Instagram at soldbydale. And don't forget to check out past episodes of the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If you found this episode helpful, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps families find the show when they need it the most. And don't forget to share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. Thanks for tuning in. One last thank you to Zach for being on the episode with me today. Thank you,
Thank
Zach.
you.
You're welcome. And for everyone else, I'll see you on the next episode of the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast.